Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? We are back after a 1 week hiatus, but we're back to recap episodes 9, 10, and 11. Joining me tonight, the man from Arizona, Calbert.
I'm doing this protest. Stupid Los Angeles, California strikes again. I hate that city. Okay, I'm done.
Goldberg is also joining us tonight. Goldberg, what is up?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
You damn right you're here because you won't get fined. You almost opted out of your contract, and we would have had a lawsuit pending. But you decided to suck it up and join the fun for tonight. So
I didn't want another lockout. We got enough going on with baseball. So.
Right. All right. Well, like I said, we're going to be reviewing everything that happened in these past 3 episodes. We're going to pay a little more attention to the finale since we did miss the last grease leg. But why don't we start off with the last grease leg, because there was some stuff to talk about. Let's start with the roadblock, where one team member had to turn over stones until they found one of 4 gold coins that they could exchange with an Oracle of Delphi impersonator for their next clue. Calbert, it seems like my team, Dusty and Ryan, had a lot of trouble with this one.
Although, to be fair, like, all the rocks look the same.
Yeah.
Like, it took them, I know it said like 3.5 hours. The way the editing was, it took every team at least a good hour and a half, if not longer. And it looked like they were all like, oh, we looked at, whether it was Kim, who was like, oh, I think I already did that section. I did that section. And then, she talks about how the editing works in Amazing Race and they make it look so obvious,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was tough. I'm not gonna fault anybody for it. And it should be. We're towards the last, at this point, we're towards the last, last couple episodes. You're not gonna get any games at this point.
So. This is what I call an ultimate equalizer task, where it's basically all about luck, where you got to get in the right spot, the right place.
Yep.
But I mean, you got to figure, if you don't get one of the first 4, it's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher each time. So there's going to be less stones to look for. Right. So your team, though, came out on top on this task.
Did really well. Really, really well. Was the first one to find the coin underneath the stone. And did well. I was not gonna lie, I was surprised, because I could have sworn, because it looked like Kim touched it or kicked it, at least twice.
Yes.
But didn't know it.
Yes. So. Yeah, that was pretty crazy, to be honest. That was one of those tasks where, probably one of the longest tasks of the season, where it would take a lot of teams a long time to find it. So
right.
So then we're coming out of that. Let's talk about Dusty here. He struggled mightily, obviously, and actually had to take a break to kind of take in the view, because Ryan said, "Hey, you're not, why don't you take a break?" Because
I thought he was going to throw him over the thing at that point.
That would have been an ultimate heel turn, right? No, back to prison you go.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, he talked about that at the mat. He was like, I was turning into my old self that I didn't like being, and so I was like, and to be fair, like, that would be frustrating for me. Like, you're looking through what looks like, well, it's definitely hundreds of rocks for sure, and they all look alike, So I would
over like a, I don't know, maybe the size of an infield, maybe a little shorter, but I mean, it was a pretty big area.
Yep.
I mean, from my point of view, I kind of figured it was a non-limb, so I wasn't really freaking out for them. But when you saw Aaron and Natalia pass you, I mean, yeah, they had to have been pretty frustrating. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Right.
So then after that, we had the detour. which was actually the last detour of the season. And it was a choice of bring them or break them. And bring them, teams had to deliver 300 plates uphill to Cafe Jasmine to receive a miniature clue from the restaurant owner. And break them, team members had to alternate breaking plates while a band was playing until they found a miniature clue. Just wanted to say that nobody picked bring them. So,
and nor should they. Nor should they.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
how
I
hard
agree.
is it to go? Okay, don't break a plate when they're after they play. That's not hard. Now
Yep.
My team started counting, which confused me because at the end of the day, you're just trying to look for the clue. So counting 1, 2 after you break a plate, I don't know necessarily if that was good strategy, but it worked for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And Raquel and Kayla finishing first here.
I believe someone on this podcast said in the episode before that my team would at least finish first in one of the legs.
Yep.
I got that right, at least if for nothing else.
Yep. And that was going to be my my deciding factor if we would have done power rankings that week. I had Raquel and Kayla pass Dusty and Ryan that week. Once they proved to me that they could win first, I put them to third, and then Aaron and Natalia, I still kept at fourth, obviously. But yeah, Dusty and Ryan got lucky with the final non-elimination leg, which I kind of figured was going to happen. But let's just put it out here right now. There will never be this many non-elimination legs in a uninterrupted season
think you're right
ever
about that.
again.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah. Not really much to talk about the detour. I mean, I almost feel like they gave them such an easy detour because of the roadblock was so challenging. But
Right.
Goldberg, thoughts on this one?
Are we talking about the plates?
Yeah.
I mean, seemed pretty easy, pretty simple enough. I mean, it was just one of those where every team zoomed right through it, except then Aaron. Aaron got a little snippy these last couple episodes, yelling at Natalia and got a little attitude.
Right.
I mean, that's another thing about Penn. This guy, is first of all, he's good at everything, like we said, and he's fucking the most supportive partner that I've seen.
True.
He's nice. He motivates her. He makes me feel like a bad person. I tell tell my wife to shut up, and I guess that's wrong. But yeah, Aaron, I don't know. Did you guys notice that? Aaron, the last couple episodes, he was yelling at her.
Yeah, I mean,
He was.
we haven't got the what I would think would be one of the extra lines of the season this year, which is "You stole my boat," but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's
Penn makes me want to be a better man.
Yeah, the finals or the standings for the final grease leg was Raquel and Kayla at first, Kim and Penn at 2, Aaron and Natalia at 3, and Dusty and Ryan at 4 survived by the non-elimination. So then we go to the first episode of the finale, which is going to Portugal.
Yep.
This episode was pretty good. I didn't really care for the final Greece one. It was okay, but this one I think there's a lot to talk about here. So first roadblock, one team member had to search among several rowboats that listed the names of famous Portuguese people until they found one of 4 that listed the name of Portuguese explorer Bartholomew Dias Fernão de Magalhães. Sorry about that. Pedro Alvares Cabral and Vasco da Gama. And
so learned was that
they row across the marina to a fisherman to receive their next clue. So this is okay. So Calbert, why don't you bring it up here? Because
well, first off, we discovered that Cristiano Ronaldo was not a famous Portuguese explorer, so we know that was written on almost every section of every boat that they were looking at. And so, at least to everybody's credit, everybody knew Cristiano Ronaldo was not it. But yeah. So Aaron does the boat portion.
Yes.
and he struggles with rowing the boat, which I'm not going to fault him. Like it's hard. It can be hard for some people.
Yeah.
Now your team, Ryan and Dusty, did really, really well, but
It
once
did
Aaron,
take them twice. I believe it
Yep.
was their second pick. Or
Yep.
second time.
right. So Aaron gets there, finally gets over there. Like he's actually put the boat in the right direction, because that was an issue for him too. Puts the boat in the right direction, finally gets it over to the judge to see if it was the right boat, and he's told it's not the right boat. So then he has to row all the way back, and then discovers or realizes that there was a Portuguese guy who was Indian, right? Or
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
So he figures out, okay, that's the guy. But Dusty figures it out also, and so he goes, he's the guy. That's it, because he goes over for the first try, gets told no, that's not it. He has to roll it up, but he does it in like what approximately it seems like 5 minutes, and all you hear the rest of the time is Aaron going, "You stole my boat! You stole my boat!" all the way over so that everybody could hear him. "You stole my boat." That's the line. "You stole my boat."
Yes.
He yelled it for like even after they got done.
Come on, Natalia. Please think positively.
Yes.
Come on, Natalia.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Right. But, and then we find out that once again, Aaron and Natalia's navigational skills strike again, as it's been striking all season.
Well, not only that, I mean, let's emphasize this. So Kim, who did this task, just guessed, and she got it right. She even admitted that she just guessed on this.
True.
So that was pretty big. Ryan, I think he took twice.
Yep.
Aaron, though, I believe even after his boat was stolen, he picked a wrong boat again.
He did.
And then had to come back.
Yep.
And
True.
get a different boat.
True.
So there was a lot. I mean, let's think about this. If he would have just done this correctly, even maybe one more time, maybe they win.
Maybe
they don't go home. So
maybe,
you know, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it would have, but
sure.
So then let's talk about the other roadblock, which, well, actually it wasn't even really a roadblock. It was just a route info. So before that, even we had the teams had to make their way to a clue box atop one of the hotel's 4 towers and spot the combination. Oh, Jesus. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
That's the episode. That's an episode after this one. Yep.
Gosh, this is not easy. But
they have to do the
but they had to spot from the tower. They had you know where they said look around.
Yep.
And I mean, Ryan and Dusty almost went the wrong way. Well, they did go the wrong way, but then they knew they went the wrong way and turned around. So that was something kind of interesting. But let's talk about the next cast, though.
Yep.
Teams had to pick a sardine can and then make their way to Rua Vasco da Gama to paint its design on a specified door to receive their next clue. So this looked a lot harder when Phil was explaining it, but then once you saw, you just kind of had to you had the outline. You just kind of had to color it in.
Oh, it took Ryan and Dusty a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
At least a dozen times to realize that they had to paint the doorknob.
Right. Question to you two. Would you have figured this out, that you would have had to paint the doorknob?
If I'm doing it, probably after the third time, I would have gone, okay, what am I doing wrong?
I agree with that.
I'm not going to fault them. Like, okay, like they're trying to make it look like the can. I got that. That totally made sense to me.
Yes.
But after the third time, after I called the judge over and she goes, no, okay, now I want to really freaking look at the can.
Yes.
You know. So
yes. I mean, clearly, like you could clearly see from the one they picked with the fishes, they had everything down.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing was the doorknob. So every other team seemed to do this pretty well. I mean, yeah, it took them like 3-4 times, but Ryan Dusty, I think it took them 10 or 11. So
Yep.
Detail was not their strong suit, and it'll come back to haunt them even at the end.
Boy did they fade since that episode where they tried to portray it, since they were on that amazing run and
Yes.
they made that episode where they tried to fool us into thinking they were going to be eliminated, and the teachers got eliminated instead.
Right.
Yeah, they never really bounced back from that.
No, they never did. I mean, some of it I think may have not been their fault with the way the legs were designed. I think when you had that 15 minutes apart.
I also think the guy. Well, that's true, and also, who's the one that not the one that was in jail? The other one.
Dusty, the
Dusty.
hothead. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's too much of a hothead. Turned out,
Yes.
like he was under control for so long because they were dominating the race. Like
Correct.
there was no reason.
We never saw it.
Sure.
Once he faced a little adversity, man, that guy he lost it.
Yes. And he always made these really bad analogies and puns. It was almost makes Mr. Schwantz look like a good pun.
Right.
But only Calvert would get that jokes. But yeah,
Right.
He was up, he was down, he was high, he was low. I mean, it was like the guy was like on his period.
Mm-hmm.
He was way too uncontrollable. Like as
Yeah.
far as emotions go, I agree.
He's that guy that remember you had that beer pong party and you said there was someone like out of control. He's that guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's gonna
Shout
ruin
out
the
to-
party,
shout out to
and then he'll
Prime.
call you, the next day and apologize for it.
Right.
He's that guy.
He's that guy. Yup, he is that guy.
And then they had
Somehow we get roped into continuing to invite him. I don't know how.
well, and then they had, and then the next task wasn't terribly easy either. But like,
No.
I don't think the teams did it correctly. I wouldn't have done it the way that they did it. But there might have been. I know there were rules as far as like they had to stay inside the box. I know I'm kind of screwing this up as far as lead, but like.
I want to talk about one thing about your team, Calvert. Raquel and Kayla did make one small mistake at the sardine task. Raquel and Kayla forgot their stuff.
Yep, they did forget the map. Yep,
Didn't
and then
seem
they had to
they had to go buy a new one and
Yep.
and whatnot. But didn't seem like it really costed them too much. But it looked like Kayla got. So the next, let me just read that. Let's just read the final roadblock. Team who did not perform the previous roadblock had to count the church columns while standing within a stone boundary and give the correct number, which was 106, to a monk who would direct them to the pit stop. So
Right.
Kayla had it. I mean, she had glasses on, probably helped,
and did it right away.
and did it right away. Whereas Penn struggled a little bit because he could not see. So he kind of he was basically just, I mean, the way that guy had a strategy though was pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like he just knew in his head that I'm just going to make this a running challenge.
But if I were him, like I know he had to stay in the square count, but like if you've missed, which he missed right away, like he guessed he was, for a first guess, he wasn't that far off.
Correct.
If it would have been me, I'd have been like, okay, so it's not 110, right? So I'm going to go to the column that I can't see because that was the biggest thing, right? Because some of the columns were in the sunlight and some of them weren't. And everybody's point, like, I'm 35. My eyesight isn't as great as it used to be when I was 25 anymore, but I can still see.
Yes.
I would have counted the column or maybe the section of the columns that I missed, and then gone, okay, so it's not 110. Let's try 109 as opposed to going up, which he tried to do. Let's go, let's go down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of struggled, but not too much. But with me, I'm always going to be wearing my contacts, especially on a race like this. So
yeah,
I'm not letting that deter me. Usually a sight challenge. You don't really see sight challenges much.
No.
This is like one of the first sight challenges I can really. I mean, yes, you've had, look around this tall building to find where the flag is. Like we've seen that, but nothing where you got to count something like that. So
Right. And I mean, that to my team's point too, like she figured it out right away. She's like, and it was just, for her, it was just simple math and she got it right away. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting there going, okay, I mean, Phil told us what it was, but like, if I would have been standing there, I'm like, I'm not 100% sure what it would have been. I would probably got it wrong the first try too.
Yeah. Yes. So, Raquel and Kayla getting it first, and then Kim and Penn finally gets it, and they get second.
Yep.
Then Dusty and Ryan comes there. He had some time before Aaron and Natalia got there. Dusty, it took him 3 times, but from the looks of it, they got it on the 3rd try. And I don't know what Natalia, how many times it took her. I'll just say once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, it looked. I'm going to venture guess to say it was probably twice because the way the editing looked, there's no way she got it on the first track because nobody got it on the first track.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kayla did, didn't she?
Yeah.
Or did she get it twice? I can't remember. I thought she got it in her first try, but
she got it on her first try. Yeah. But like, I mean, that was just doing the math in her head and guessing.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like,
yep.
Go ahead.
No. You finish your sentence.
So I mean, it had Aaron and Natalia been able to find where to go for the sardine can, they could have beaten Ryan and Dusty because at that point Ryan and Dusty were still trying to figure out, what was wrong with the sardine can. So like, it theoretically could have happened that they wouldn't have gotten eliminated in Portugal.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of mistakes Aaron and Natalia made that episode where they could have passed Ryan and Dusty, but obviously it was Ryan too who figured out the doorknob. So
yep.
So, but yes, so Ryan and Dusty made it to the final 3, and finally the luck ran out for Aaron and Natalia. They finally got eliminated. They seemed pretty happy about it. Final thoughts on Aaron and Natalia. Goldberg, because I know you. This is one of your favorite teams.
I mean, Calvert really has said enough about them over the past few weeks, but I mean, it was really like it was enough. Like there's like a Cinderella story, like an underdog story, and then there's just like enough already, and it was enough already with them.
Yeah. What did they have? 3 times where they should have been eliminated, but survived.
And I buried them probably from about week 2 on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I was pretty bad with Akbar and Sherry because they were bad too. But like, I buried Aaron and Natalia, rightfully so, right away, and the 9 lives of the cat finally died. So.
Yep. So, thought that was an interesting penultimate leg. Some good tasks, but ultimately we're down to our final 3 now. So
which I think they got right. I think these were the right 3 teams to go into the finale.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, easily these were the best 3 teams. I mean, there was a little hesitation there with Lulu and Lala that they may have been able to, if they would have kept that early mid leg streak going up, they might have been able to squeeze in. But yeah, I agree. These were by far the best 3 teams. So
what are you bringing them up for at a time like
this? I was just about to say, did you notice who brought them up? I didn't say anything.
I try to give your team a compliment. You can't even take that.
They're not my team. I picked Kim and Penn, okay? I'm 2 for 2.
That's
spoiler alert.
Oh, man. Wow. Even when you get it wrong, you get it right. All right. So
we go to Los Angeles.
So there's a lot of different stuff in this finale, so we're just going to go through them here. We started off at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. Teams had to make their way to a clue box atop one of the hotel's 4 towers and spot the combination going up and down on an elevator needed to unlock their next clue. So right off the bat, Ryan and Dusty just could not figure this out, and it basically took them out. I mean, Calvert, how many times do we see this where one team makes it to the final three, but they're just taken out of it so early that they just have really no shot. Like, you remember the Afghanimals, 31? Remember, same thing. They couldn't figure out that combination. So
right. Usually it's either when we come to the final episode of a season, it's either a combination of either the cab driver, which always boggles my mind that the cab driver never, and especially it's usually done in the United States, that the cab driver never knows generally where to go, or they get stuck in traffic, or B, it's the puzzle. But the puzzle wasn't even involved at this point. And and to the other point, for just half a second, it's not like they were small numbers in the window of the elevator. They were large numbers. Like, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could have seen them.
Here's the thing, though. They didn't spot the elevator.
True.
They were going up those stairs. They were looking around the building, but they never went to the side far enough.
They were even in it. Remember, they were even in an elevator.
They were in the elevator. Yes. Correct. So if you didn't look in the right direction, you were kind of SOL.
Yep.
But Raquel and Kayla, I think, were the first team out. Or no, Kim and Penn were, right?
Raquel and Kayla got it first. Raquel and Kayla got first, and then Kim Penn right behind.
Right behind him. Okay, you're right.
At this point, they should have just cut the camera crew who was following Ryan and Dusty around. There was just no reason for them to even be involved anymore.
Of course, you got to shoot on my team. I like that.
Well, it was just pity.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It was
right.
just they were out. At this point, they were out. That was it. No. They never.
And they knew it too. That's the thing. Like, they knew it. They knew once they didn't get it on the first go around, they're like, essentially, we're screwed. Like, let's just enjoy it now. We're not going to win. So
you can't make a mistake on that final leg. You really cannot. Like, you have to be able to keep up with the other teams, and if you don't, you're done. It's just, we've seen it so many times. It's super, super, super rare to ever see three teams neck and neck on the finale. You're lucky even if you get two teams neck and neck. We did get it this time, but
I was thinking that.
I mean, last season we didn't get it, so
nope.
Right. So the second task was the El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument. One team member had to direct their partner, who was blindfolded with a luchador mask, to hit three specific piñatas: a donkey, a taco, and a star that had three parts of their next clue. A little trouble with Kim and Penn here, maybe a little bit.
Which Penn beat the color out of those things. There wasn't one standing at the end of it, and I mean, I don't know. They struggled because he hit one. It was the right object, but it didn't have anything. It didn't have the clue in it. So I mean, then that was where I was like, okay, Kim Penn. To your previous point for just half a second. That's all it takes. It's one little misstep, and that can cost you, even if it just takes an extra second or two. That could determine you from finishing first or second.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, he was hitting a bunch of them that had nothing in it. Raquel and Kayla seemed to do this pretty easily. They were pretty cool, calm, and collective about this. And then this is kind of where it sputtered out after they were done with this. Because on the third task, because they had a decent lead on Kim and Penn here. They had to go to Sir Hollywood. Teams had to become Foley artists by using props to add sound effects and sync to 5 silent video clips from previous seasons. Brendan and Rachel performing the Running with the Balls detour in season 24. Leonard Jensen unrolling hay bales in season 6. Claire Champlin being hit with a watermelon in season 17. Amanda and Chris performing the Austrian Foley detour in season 14, and Colin Quinn performing the plow detour in season 5 to receive their next clue. This was a little weird.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My axe is broken.
Yep.
Right, that's the line. My axe is broken.
My axe is broken.
That's
season 5. Very good.
Line.
Oh gosh, that's probably one of the most.
Right.
The watermelon's pretty popular too. Yep. Season 5, very, very good season. I recommend everybody to watch that one. crazy finish, crazy ending. And Goldberg, you saw season 5 because you said that. The Kim and Penn, not Kim and Penn, Kim and
Chip
Kim.
and
Chip and
Kim. I did.
Yep.
I did.
Yep. If you remember, the bowling moms were in that season too. They took
It rings a
fourth.
bell.
Yeah, they were kind of another underdog team. But this is kind of where Raquel and Kayla, they had a decent lead.
I didn't think at this stage. I honestly, I know it was close because I know Kim and Penn were behind them, but I really, and Calvert, I wonder if you felt this way. I kind of thought it was almost like Raquel and Kayla were in pretty much control. I thought it was kind of a wrap. I didn't think Kim and Penn would catch up.
I thought they were in good shape. But I knew the puzzle was coming, and
I almost thought that the editing was making it seem closer until they met outside of. Was that after? When did they meet each other outside and both get in the cars around the same time? Which task was that? After the pinata, or was that after the?
I thought that was after the
test. Yeah, that's after the Foley test because they pretty much asked the same guy.
Right.
Yeah.
They asked this.
Sorry.
Oh no, right. No, they didn't. No, you're right. It was right after the Foley. They both got the Foley done.
Because they asked the same guy. Now, granted, this is where my team was trying to be a little mischievous, and they were like, "Don't tell them," as they're getting in the car.
By the way, and the Foley task was seems like teams had quite a bit of difficulty with this, but after the Foley task, teams were instructed to find the home of the LA Galaxy to find their next clue. Then teams had to answer 13 riddles by placing the correct tennis rackets with images of people, places, and items they encountered on previous legs, not including the first 3 legs from the original production run, onto the riddles before a tennis umpire would direct them to cross the finish line. Teams had to be observant as some rackets had similar images with minor differences. The questions and answers were, I'm not going to read them all, but do you guys want me to read these?
No,
they were?
Okay. Because at this point, because this was the part where I thought Raquel and Caleb got it, because they put up at least 4 correct answers at that point, and were nowhere to be found.
Yep.
And we both know that if you can get an early jump on the puzzle and it be right out of the gate, you're in pretty good shape. Not necessarily you're going to win, but you're in good shape. And that's why I was like, I went from sitting to standing going, oh my God, the team that I actually picked might actually win, which doesn't happen for me very often. And especially in Los Angeles, which has been a cursed city for me. I'm still mad about the drum season.
That was Detroit, by the way.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, That's right. For the 7 Nation Army. That's right.
Yep.
Yes, that's right. But still, Los Angeles has not been.
They've been to Los Angeles so many times. California in general, even.
But
don't you think though this finale puzzle was so much better than last season's? And no offense,
Absolutely.
I'm sure Goldberg, you'd admit that.
Because remember last year, all I had to do was pretty much put the puzzle together on the globe. Like that's not terribly hard.
Right.
This is like you have to match, to your point. You have to match it and then make sure it's the right thing. And as we discovered with Kim and Penn and Raquel and Kayla, which would be my team, the coin, which we talked about a little bit ago, was very, very important. And I couldn't see on the TV like what the difference was, but of course I wasn't standing there, so it must have been something, because the coin looked like the coin to me all the way through. It didn't. I couldn't really tell a difference.
Yeah, I got a couple thoughts on this on the end there. Like one, again, I really didn't think Kim and Penn would pass them. Because Raquel and Kayla were there for so long, and also I think that The Amazing Race, and I know other shows do this, but they need to change. the music to the point where you know when someone's going to get it wrong and when someone's about to get it right, because the music kind of stops when someone's about to get it right. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes.
But like,
yes.
you can tell, and you guys have watched fucking like 48 seasons, so you can tell when someone's going to get it right and when somebody's going to get it wrong, and they need to take that away somehow and make it more of a mystery. But yeah, I still didn't think Kim and Penn would pass them. But I mean, it turned out Kim was taking notes the whole time, so she knew what she was doing.
Well, yeah, not even that though. They didn't even get it done perfectly. I think what happened with Raquel and Kayla is they just like overthought it, and once they had one wrong, they basically changed their whole.
Well,
board.
Kim and Penn overthought it. They overthought it too, though.
They did
because
they
they only had one. I think they only had one wrong on their first try, and then they ended up getting like 2 or 3 wrong after that. So,
yep.
I guess both teams were kind of overthinking it, but it was exciting. It was an exciting race. And I couldn't figure out if I wanted Kim and Penn to win because, I really did pick them and you guys are jerks. Or if I wanted Raquel and Kayla to win just so I felt better that I would have lost either way. But, screw you guys. At least you both lost. You deserve it.
There you go. Don't you feel better now?
No, I don't.
You could have been me. They could kind of going back to the episode beforehand from a couple episodes ago. They could probably see where Phil was standing from where they were. Like, because we know he's inside the stadium. I mean, it's not hard. He's inside the stadium. So they could probably see him, or at least, they got a decent chance. Okay, it looks like a little speck. That's probably Phil. He's wearing a hat. So you could have been that. I was thinking while you were saying that was a good thought, because I thought of Hurls. Do you remember the finale where they had to build the plane?
Yes. Yes.
That
was good.
Like it was kind of like that, where if you were wrong, you had to pretty much start over.
Yeah, that season, yeah, they had to match all the symbols and everything. That season probably had one of the best finales where all 3 teams were at the finale, at the final puzzle at the same time. So I honestly think, you don't see that much, but I will take 2 teams instead of like what we had last year where it was just one.
Right.
I'll definitely take 2 teams, but Calvert, your team.
Well, there you go, Goldberg.
That close.
I would rather been in your shoes, where my team had absolutely no chance of winning now, instead of where I was, where I went from sitting to standing, going, "Oh my God, I think I might actually win." Which I think in the grand total of us doing this podcast, even before it became 3, who I think I've won or at least finished better than the girls twice.
Yes. You had it with those twin brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You beat me there, and then last season you beat me, and then this season you beat. Well, yeah, you beat me. So
I mean,
yep.
You could be me.
I was pretty content with Dusty and Ryan taking 3rd. I was just happy to see them get in the finale. I knew their attention to detail was just not. They weren't going to win especially it was confirmed after the sardine task. I mean, it's just like you need attention to detail. If you don't have it, doesn't matter how good you are at physical challenges, you do need to have good attention to detail there. So
it's I think, see, if it were me, this is something that I would change with the Amazing Race. As good of a show as it is,
yes,
I give the team that finishes second something. Give them some money.
I think they do. I think it's hidden though. There's been reports that some teams do get something if they make it to the final 3. Yeah, just Google it. There's articles out there that they do get stuff, but yeah, I mean, Kim and Penn, they were the best team consistently. They deserved it. They're also the most popular team, so I'm sure the Amazing Race got some really good ratings this season.
And that's a fact too. Like, this will be known as the season that has the oldest couple to ever win the Amazing Race.
Yes, let's not forget that. Too.
Like, that's impressive, and like, I can't really hate them. Like, they were really, really good. I didn't realize that Kim was that attention to detail with drawing. Like, she would even just draw like regular like stick figure pictures, which is what I would do if I were killing time. Not thinking anything of it, but this might be important. I might just want to jot this down.
What were they? 46, 47?
They were, hold on, give me 1 second. They were, Kim and Penn, 45 and 47.
That's solid. That shows you can still
Carolina.
win at this stage in life. So, yep.
I think also the Amazing Race does a good job of getting that when Kim and Penn were running through the smoke and running toward the finish line. I think the Amazing Race does a good job of giving like the viewer at home the feel of what they feel like when they're running through that smoke. Like I kind of felt it for them.
Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Like iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, you traveled all these miles and did all these crazy things, and you're finally rewarded with the top prize. So
I don't know what Isaiah and what's his name? They shouldn't have been invited.
Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know why they were there.
Yeah, right. You bailed. You shouldn't get to celebrate with all the other teams. So where do we rank Kim and Penn amongst like top winners?
Oh man,
From at least the seasons you've watched.
they're probably right up there.
All right, Goldberg. Let's give you a good one here.
But
who's the tougher team, Will and James or Kim and Penn?
I think Kim and Penn are the better team.
Yeah.
And because Will and James were not. I guess they weren't dominant that season. They were in that alliance, so they were hovering around second, third, fourth for basically the whole season. Kim and Penn were consistently in first or second pretty much the entire season, really, weren't they?
fairly
Yeah.
Or it felt
Besides the first
felt that
couple
way.
legs, that was it. They were.
I mean,
They just never stopped after that point.
no, they're smart. They're in good shape for their age. So I mean, there was really, I don't know. I haven't seen enough seasons to answer that question, but I think, I don't know what do you guys think? I mean, they seem like I don't see how anyone could really.
I mean,
be better than Penn. I mean,
yeah, I'm sitting here just trying to think, and I have two teams in my head that finished first.
Well,
they're go ahead.
They're one of the top. I'd put them up there with Colin and Christie.
Yep.
And I'd actually love to see a winner's Amazing Race.
Mm.
They have not done it. They've only ever, to my knowledge, only brought back like 2 teams to ever win it. So it's like, I don't know why. I don't know if these teams that win it just like don't want to do it because they're like, well, we've been there, done that. Why go out again? But I think they should get a winner's Amazing Race and up the ante to like $5 million or something like that. You know, something to get these teams to want to come back.
I wonder just from let alone the physical aspect of it. I wonder if it's mentally draining for them, because you got to think about that for just half a second. Like, they're 9 times out of 10, they're on the other side of the planet. You know,
No cell phone,
right?
Yep. No contact.
It's just you and whoever you brought. Like,
yep.
And if it's there was very little bickering with Kim Penn. I would put them. So they're probably like third for me as far as best team ever to finish. Like they could clearly beat the Scientist. They crush the Scientist. They would crush. They would. I can't say crush. It would be very competitive against the Cowboys.
Yes, they were tough. They were a tough team.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, that's the one team that I'm sitting here thinking who could go up against them that might put up a challenge that they may finish second. That's probably the only team I could think of just off the top of my head.
What about Tyler and Laura from season 26? Now, remember, they were a put together team because they were a dating couple. I think they beat them. I really do. I mean, I don't think they were a real strong winner.
Right.
What about the news reporters from season 27? You think they beat them?
I would say they beat them.
I agree. I think they beat them too. What about now this team? I don't even know how they won it. Matt and Dana, the dancers that fought all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, they're beating them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then what about Brooke and Scott? Now, this team, much like Will and James, used a lot of the manipulative game to win. He called it the social game. I think they beat them. I think Kim and Penn beat Scott and Brooke.
Yeah, I think, and especially if it came down to like a foot race.
Yes,
I'll take, as athletic as Brooke was, I'll take Penn against her.
Yep. What about Cody and Jessica? Now, Cody was a freaking machine. Let's not forget that.
Yep.
Jessica, she showed up when she had to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they beat. That would be tough, but I think they beat them. Maybe, I don't know. Cody and Jessica were pretty good though.
Right.
Colin and Christy, I think this is one of the best teams. One of the top teams. I think it would be a really good match. I think both those teams are pretty even. Well, then you got Will and James. I do think they beat Will and James.
I think they beat them because Will and James wouldn't have the advantage of not using the advantage of the alliance, because
yes,
the alliance wouldn't be there.
Yes, I mean, last season was a season full of, as I call them, bad guys, or bad girls, whatever you want to say.
Yep.
This season was a season of all like mostly likable teams. I don't really think there was many teams I didn't even like. So,
right.
Next question.
Cover, what are you saying right for? You hated like 3 of the teams.
You're right. That's true. That's true. And that's the thing too. Like, at least even though my team didn't win, and the original team that I picked didn't win either, I think they got the right team. I think the correct team probably won.
I'm glad we didn't win, because Goldberg would be saying asterisk, the whole damn time. So I'm kind of glad that we didn't win.
Well, in my mind, I'm 2-0, but I mean, you guys, you can think of it any way you want.
Hey, we got you on the podcast changing your pick, and I even questioned it. I'm like, why?
I even said,
but
you
went with it.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I asked you like twice.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long off season.
Yes, dude.
Here's my next question. Let's say all 11 teams are finished this race. Does Kim and Penn still win?
I think they do.
I think they do too.
We didn't see enough. 2 legs from the teams that didn't come back is not enough to tell us they could have beat Kim and Penn.
Yeah, I think Anthony and Spencer would.
That's probably
they would have been tough. I don't know if they would have won it, but I think they could have beat Ryan and Dusty though. They seemed a little more even keel.
You know what? Last, I think we said this last podcast, is that I think we said those. Did we say that those 3 teams would have, maybe not all 3? We said something about that they would have made the final no matter what.
They're all
at
really
least
good.
1 or 2 of them.
Connie and Sam were intriguing.
I have to say,
Sarah
I don't know that I don't think Ryan and Dusty would have made a final if those other teams. I don't think they would have lasted that long.
I agree.
I think Anthony and Spencer probably beat Ryan and Dusty.
I do too.
Connie and Sam were good.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they could have beaten them too. I think it would have been close with those 2, but
I think Kim and Penn are the only team that you could say would have been in the final no matter what.
Do you think Carol and Ray would have lasted though? They were a pipe bomb waiting to explode. No. I don't think they would have. No. Taylor and Isaiah definitely wouldn't have.
But they were palling around with Caro and Ray were palling around with Kim and Penn for a little bit there.
Mm-hmm. They were, but I don't see it with them. They broke up for a reason. I mean, I think they would have just melted down.
Well, I think, like you said, I believe that the best and the right team won. So
yes, I agree. So Amazing Race 33.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I've said
it. All right. Amazing Race 33. Overall thoughts. Who wants to go first? I mean, I can start it if you want me to.
It's your podcast. Go ahead.
All right. I thought it was a good season bearing the fact of what they all had to deal with, and I thought they did a pretty good job at least finishing the race. And I didn't really care for some of the ways that they started the legs, but overall, I thought it was a pretty enjoyable season. So I'd give it a good 8 out of 10 with a good finale. Calbert.
Yeah, I just didn't like the way that they did it with the times and having pretty much two teams leaving almost essentially at the same time. The private play was cool. I like that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think they got I think the right team won. I think this was better than season 33 was better than last year. Which
yes.
I mean that's saying much, but
I agree. I think it was a lot better.
I think it was better than last year, and so at the end of the day, I think it was good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And Kim Penn deserved to win. They got it right, and I really honestly and we talked about this during the entire podcast for the season. Like, there are parts where I didn't think a single team on this season deserved to even be there because they were just sometimes they're making dumb decisions. That's another thing that Kim Penn weren't really doing. They weren't making a whole lot of crazy dumb decisions. They were making dumb decisions, but not crazy dumb. But I think overall, I think it was a good season.
Goldberg.
Yeah, I actually do think. I mean, I guess it's kind of recency bias to say this season was better than last, but I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe it was. And I mean, they did a good job for they lost some teams. I think they did a decent job, but I agree with you guys. I think they need to do something about the way they're starting these legs. I think it got a little better towards the end, but overall, I did enjoy the season, and I think this final was certainly better than last season's final. It had a lot of excitement in this final, especially at the end there. So, I don't remember what I gave last season, but I'd probably give this season maybe a half or a full point better. I mean, it's overall like a 7.5.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Even though
pretty solid score.
Even though your team won. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 2 for 2, so.
I mean, it's not. I mean, yes, okay. So clearly, if your team won, you're probably going to give the score maybe a little bit better, but you can just tell some seasons are better than others. Sometimes the cast isn't very good.
No, I think this season was better than last season, and my team won last season. So
yeah. I mean, I agree. And that had a lot to do with the Mine 5, and then the whole.
It was I mean, the cast
finale.
was. I think this cast was a little more. I think you just said likable. I think they were a little more likable.
Some things, though, I will say that I didn't like about this season. No U-turns. That was a little disappointing.
Not one the entire year. There's usually at least one, and it's generally usually at the beginning of the season. Usually, not always, but usually. But not one. I thought that was surprising.
Yes. I mean, the U-turn definitely creates more drama. I'll say that.
I would have been interested to see how Kim Penn would have handled that because theoretically, if the U-turn would have been involved, my guess right out of the gate would have been either Ryan Dusty would have been U-turned or Kim Penn would have been U-turned. Right out of the gate. And we know how Ryan Dusty would have handled it. That probably wouldn't have, they don't make it to the final with a U-turn. I mean,
they may have not. If they got turned around, they would have probably got eliminated a lot quicker. But who knows, though? I mean, depending on where it would have been placed. I mean, if it would have been placed earlier, then who knows? One other team may have got eliminated early. It's kind of just the luck of the draw at that point. So
true.
All right. Well, as far as we know, Amazing Race 34 is a go. They're casting right now, so
they are. Yep.
If you got the ambition to go, submit your videos.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me too, and Calbert too. You and the bald guy. But first off, though, like for season 34, do we hope that we go around the world this time? Because I mean, I didn't mind the all European legs, but I'm really hoping next season's going to at least open it up to at least some South American.
I hope it's more. I'm using air quotes so you guys can't see. I hope it's more traditional, meaning, go to Asia, go there, go to
Yes.
Good. Have the famous Indian leg, even though I hate it. Have the famous Indian leg. Go to
Dubai. Give us the Dubai leg. Dubai's always a fun
Mm-hmm.
leg.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many places I hope they open up a little bit, at least a little bit. Like we don't have to go to these obscure countries, but hopefully it'll be a little bit more. So,
what do you think, Goldberg?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if they race from a bedroom to a bathroom. You got me back. You guys got me back on this show, so I'm definitely looking forward to another season. It just sucks that we're gonna have to wait so long.
Well, we do have a newer show that we may be reviewing, CBS The Challenge. So, which is going to include teams from The Amazing Race. So, should be fun to see. That'll be my first season of watching.
It would be interesting if hopefully we get Leo on there.
Yes.
You obviously they're gonna bring in controversial people because the show is about drama. If they keep the same way MTV has done it, which I know CBS is a lot different than MTV, but we'll see if they're going to bring in some people who, I guess, interesting people. Well, Leo's interesting.
That is.
I'm sure Will and James are already doing their due diligence. These guys can't stay out of the spotlight for 5 minutes.
I know, right? Yeah, they're already running the official Amazing Race podcast. So
they are milking that 15 minutes, man.
18.
All right. Well, that's it. And any final comments from you guys?
Looking forward to 34. I actually didn't think I was going to, but I'm looking forward to season 34 because season 33 ended so good. Even though it ended for me terribly, now I have to wait months and months for it to be
back.
Looking forward to it. So
yep. So. All right, well, that'll do it for this episode and this season. But we will be back with Amazing Race 34 coverage. See you later.
Have a good night, everybody.